All right, welcome back. Today's topic is how slow times aren't real. And if you had a chance to like and subscribe to our channel, thank you very much for doing that. Don't forget to hit the little bell to get a notification when these new videos come up. We try to do something new-ish every day if we can, certainly on the weekdays. So yesterday's video, we talked about how failure isn't real and that it is a construct of your own mind, that failure is actually, it's not that it's not real, it's that it has a different definition from nature than it does from you personally or from your society that you're in. Today, we're going to talk about other things that aren't real. One of the things that's not real is a slow time. You might say, well, okay, I'm in the mortgage industry and rates have gone up, or I'm in the insurance industry and no millennial seems to want to buy life insurance, or I'm in the car industry and the industry itself has slowed down, or we're, competing desperately with these electric car companies. I can't sell a truck anymore. And I'm going to say that isn't true in any way. That's true as a whole globally. You might see that the global market itself has slowed down, but oftentimes that's because the collective education isn't there. And so what I'm saying to you right now is a little bit more blunt. You have the control of what you define as a slow time, and you can define no time as a slow time. One of my favorite mortgage professionals, Ray Reyes, talks about market proofing his business. And he actually has a video on our platform, BHB TV, and anybody can watch this. You don't have to be a mortgage professional. Just go to bhbtv.net and watch this. He talks about how he market proofs his business and never believes in a slow time and therefore never has a slow time. Even if rates are going up, even in 2008, when everything crashed, he was still busy as a mortgage professional. Now, how did he do that? Well, the reality is through education. You see, the problem with slow times is that it's lack of education. And I'm not talking about whether you went to university or not. You can have the top degree, you can be a PhD. But if you stop at your PhD, or you stop at your college education, or you stop at your high school education, and you don't continuously learn, then that defines and creates slow times. You see, if you're always learning, you can't have a slow time. That's because you're learning about new products, new options, new opportunities. A prime example in the mortgage industry is learning about another product from alternative lenders, for example. So anybody who's not familiar with this industry, you can have your prime lenders with the best rates, and you can have your alternative lenders where you have higher rates and potentially they take on higher risk. So let's say you never did that higher risk business before when times were good. You were super busy. You were getting tons of people with 700 credit scores and you're just blowing the water. The housing market was crazy. Everything was awesome. And you didn't need that product. But the smart mortgage professional, the one who stays ahead of everything, is the one that went and learned that product anyway, learned of its availability, learned how to use it, learned how to submit it, learned how to manage it, and learned what the client ideal for that product looks like. So that when their A business slows down, which it's doing right now because of higher rates, they can still access that alternative base because they kept learning. One of the more frustrating things to be a leader in the education industry of mortgage professionals with BHB TV is people telling me they're too busy to learn. Then you've just ruined your next 10 years. That's the bottom line. Your next 10 years are over because it doesn't stay that way. You cannot sustain that market as a whole. And so if you cannot sustain that market as a whole, you have to know that it is time to go and learn at all times. Carve out an hour, carve out 20 minutes. One of my good friends in the industry, James Lowen, stuck with me from the moment. He did one of the first videos ever for us. And in that video, he said he makes his team, his entire team, even though they're commission-based and can tell him to go pound salt, he makes his entire team sharpen their axe at all times. And what does that mean? That means learn from alternative lenders, learn from technology companies, learn from social media marketing, learn, constantly learning. You will not have a slow time ever if you are constantly learning and evolving, because you can shift fundamentally your business as you go. So when we talk about Ray Reyes, that's exactly what he does. If he slows down in one area, he picks up in another because he was ready and he was educated, and that's how he market proofed his business. So the next time you sit there and tell somebody you're too busy to watch a webinar, or you're too busy to watch an 8-minute video on how to sell this certain product or how to overcome this objection, because you never see that objection today, guess what? Today is about today and the past. You have to be ready for the future as well. You're going to face that objection someday. Do you know why? Because it exists. Somebody is writing or doing or filming a video about it. And if that's the case, it means you're going to face it too. And for you to ignore that video, for you to not educate yourself on that, sets you back. It makes you unsuccessful, and it makes you concerned in the times that things slow down. The best professionals, whether it be in any industry, it doesn't matter whether rates are rising or people are not buying life insurance. What is a millennial going to buy? Right? If that's your problem, I've had somebody say that to me. Oh, man, I can't get millennials to buy life insurance. Well, what story are you telling? Have you learned new ways to tell the story? Have you learned what they want to hear? Or have you learned what they need to hear to make that decision? Because it's a very important decision and a very important product. You're not explaining it to them in a way that resonates with them, which means you haven't been learning, you didn't take the time, and now you're slow, not them. And they will find that life insurance when they need it, but it won't be with you because you didn't take the time to learn. So the moral of the story today is this: there is no such thing as a slow time. If you feel like you're experiencing a slow time right now, that's because you're not educating yourself. And like I say, that does not mean you're not formally educated in university, college, whatever it is. It means that you haven't continuously learned or are currently not continuously learning. And if you don't make that commitment to yourself, to your business, and to the future of what you do, that's when you'll run into what we call slow times. And you'll blame everyone else. The millennials won't buy, or I'm not getting enough leads because everybody's worried about it, high interest rates, or, the electric cars are taking over. You have a clientele that needs you. Work with that clientele. Learn who still needs that pickup truck that you sell, because there's somebody who still needs it. There is a market for it, and you don't need to slow down, but you do need to learn so that you don't have to slow down. And when you do that, success will be around the corner every single day.